Hi everyone, so today we're going to be talking about our top 5 favourite Disney World attractions. That's quite a mouthful. These are just our personal favourites that we've kind of... they're not all good, but they're like nostalgic. Some of them are nostalgic. No, most of them are good. I'm going to say they're all good. They're all my favourites. I had to fight with you for some of them.
This was a really, really difficult list to put together. We could not agree, and there are so many other rides that were deserving of a spot, but no, we've kept it strict, so these are the top 5.
Yeah. So the way we kind of came about this list is we kind of mentally went through all the parks, picked our favourite rides in those parks, and kind of narrowed down the list till we had the top 5 overall. So should we start from 5 to 1? You always start from 5 to 1 on the list, don't you?
Yes, you do. Start with the worst and go to the best.
I always think it's the other way around for some reason, but then I suppose that's like an anticlimax, isn't it? You're like, bam, there's the best, now it's...
Yeah, everyone would leave after that.
Deteriorate into worst. Okay, so number 5. Cool. This is one of our favourites, but bear with us, let me explain this a little bit. So it's Living with the Land, and this is in Epcot in the Land Pavilion. Most people know because it's next to Soarin'. Why do you like Living with the Land, Ash? Please justify it to the people.
Bizarrely, I like how educational it is. That sounds really bad, and you're on holiday, and you're supposed to be having lots of fun, but I really think that a lot of people don't know enough about where their food comes from. And this doesn't cover all methods of sort of farming and food culture, but it covers agriculture in specific. And a lot of people have no idea the effort that goes into growing food, its journey from being grown to when you actually get to eat it. And I think anything that anyone does to try and improve people's knowledge of that is a really good thing. I definitely like the boats, and I also really like the smell of the ride. It's particularly unique, and you get to go through these really cool greenhouses with loads of different random products that you've probably never seen growing before.
I really like it because I like looking at the fruit and veg and being like, I know what that is, or don't know what that is, and that's pretty much that. I like that though. I like just being like, oh, there's a pineapple, didn't know that grew in the ground. Did you know pineapples grow off like plants on the ground? For some reason I always thought pineapples grew from trees, but the Living with the Land taught me that is not the case. Did you know that?
I did know that, but that was thanks to Living with the Land.
Eh?
Okay, so at number 4 we have PhilharMagic.
Okay, this is... I feel I have to justify all of these, but they're our favourites, so, whatever. If you don't like them, that's fine. But the reason I really like PhilharMagic is it's my favourite. We always go to Magic Kingdom on the first day, usually. And PhilharMagic is one of my favourite ones to do as the first ride of the first day, because you're kind of in the Disney spirit, but it kind of amps it up to another level. You sit in the theatre, spoiler if you don't know what it is, you sit in the theatre and they play Disney songs, and you can smell it, and I usually sing along really loudly, and then when I come out I'm always like, Disney World! And it just gets me really excited for my holiday, and whenever I go with people that haven't been before, I'm always like, PhilharMagic first, now you feel all Disney and magical, let's go out into the rest of the world till you get really tired. So that's why I love it.
Yeah, it's just a really, really good mix of some of the best of all of the Disney songs, and I think it's a really great start to a holiday. And
most of the time it's a walk-on, which is a total plus in the air conditioning.
Especially if you got there fairly early in the morning.
Okay, this next one is probably actually going to be on quite a few people's lists. It's Expedition Everest. I love the theming of this ride. When I worked in Disney, I worked in Animal Kingdom, and we were able to go and through the ride with some of the staff that worked there, and they were explaining all the different things and why it was there and stuff, and I was like, this is really cool. A lot of effort went into this, and I appreciate that. And also it's really fun because I think Disney has a couple of fast rides, but I think this is the best of those ones. I really like that it goes backwards. I like the story. There's one thing I'm not too keen on, and you can go into more depth about that because you're very passionate about that one.
It's definitely the Yeti animatronic. It's such a shame that didn't work out in the way that they were hoping. There are structural issues with the mountain, and they can't have them running the whole time, and it would be very, very difficult to fix at this point. And I think that's a huge shame. It's no one's fault. It's just how it goes. But Everest definitely loses some cool points for me that it doesn't have the Yeti as it should be.
And if you're not sure what that animatronic was, if you've never seen it before, it's just the Yeti going as you go past. Because now he just goes...
with flickering lights.
And there's actually a Twitter account for him called Disco Yeti, is it?
Disco Yeti.
Which is amazing. It's just him being sad that no one will fix him, pretty much.
This is one that we absolutely could not decide on. And so we've kind of grouped them together.
Kind of cheated.
It definitely is cheating. But at number 2, we have the mountains from Magic Kingdom. And we've got all 3 of them in there. Partly because we couldn't agree between us which one was the best one.
Splash Mountain.
It's not Splash Mountain. It's Thunder Mountain. Because it's
Thunder Mountain's the worst.
Thunder Mountain is definitely the best. And Space Mountain is the worst because it's really creepy and scary.
Okay, let me justify my list. Splash Mountain, because although the story is a little bit risque nowadays, it's an amazing ride because it's really long and you have the story and you go through with Brer Rabbit and then you have the drop. If you ever do the drop during fireworks, it is the best time. So I love that one. And then Space Mountain because it's in the dark and it's really fast. And then Thunder Mountain I don't really like because there's a bit where you go over like a bump and it makes my stomach go to my mouth. I'm like, whoa.
See, for me, I like Splash Mountain for all the reasons that you said. I just don't particularly like getting wet. Even though it's Florida and it's really hot and the water's kind of nice and cool, still not really a fan of that.
Usually smells pretty bad though, doesn't it?
Usually smells a bit weird. So Splash Mountain loses some points and slips to 2 on my list. And Space Mountain's right at the bottom just because I really, really don't like heights. And Space Mountain, where it's so dark and I haven't got any proper sense of scale, you might have seen in the vlog, I really don't like it. Could barely handle it. It's just something about it being dark and fast and everything feels really close to your face.
I love that.
I don't love that. So that's why Splash Mountain is 2nd and Space Mountain is 3rd on my list, which leaves kind of Thunder Mountain as the winner by default almost on my list.
But the queue line for Thunder Mountain would literally, if I ever had to, because I usually always get fast pass for it, if I ever had to queue in the normal line,
I don't think I'd do it.
It would be my worst ride. That queue line is so unbearably hot and humid. It is like...
It's a fast pass only line for us. It's too hot otherwise. Couldn't do it.
Okay, so number 1 is... Yeah, I think I threw my toys out the pram a little bit for this one. I was like, this is going to be number 1. I don't care what you say. This is pretty much some sort of relationship. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm just going to do what I want. Dinosaur. Dinosaur is number 1. And I know not many people love it, but like I love it. It is my favourite ride. The ride vehicle is amazing. And I don't think you actually realise how high off the ground it is. It's like really high. I've gone into the service bit for them. They are like truck high.
They're a lot taller than they look.
You have to get a ladder to get up.
Incredible piece of engineering.
Yeah, because it just goes over a track like normal, and then it's just the vehicle that's doing all the heebie-jeebie bits. And it's got dinosaurs in it, good and bad ones. There's I consider it a jump scare at the end because it always gets me every time. Even though it's coming, I'm always like, ah! But I love it. It's a dark ride. The animatronics don't always work, but it's fine. I love it.
I think technically it is a very impressive ride. The ride vehicles are a really cool way of doing a ride like that. I just think some of the animatronics could be a lot better. They could certainly be a lot more reliable. I wasn't super a fan of the story that they've put over the ride. I think it's a bit dated now.
I love it!
Just because it came out when the dinosaur movie was a thing, and that's not really been one of those films that I would say has actually lasted. I think people kind of forget that it's a Disney film.
Yeah, but same with Song of the South, really.
Yes.
Alright.
I didn't put Splash Mountain as number 1 then.
That's fair.
Like, I just think that it's not a very, very Disney attraction to me. I think it's kind of lost a little bit.
I love it.
Yeah, Sarah loves it, so it had to go at our number 1 spot.
Yeah. Do we have any honourable mentions for like... here's my honourable mention. I really like Spaceship Earth because it's such a good place to nap. Like, it's all dark. You've got... Who does the voiceover for that?
Jeremy Irons or Dame Judi Dench?
Judi Dench. She's like all soothing. And you just like sends you to sleep. And then you just kind of wake up when you see the Earth. And I'm like, yeah, it's really good. I've done it a couple times.
See, my honourable mention was going to be Spaceship Earth because I find it really, really interesting. And it's another thing that I think people don't know enough about, which is like our past and the way that we got to where we are now as a culture. So I think that it's really interesting and worth checking out to learn stuff, not just to sleep.
I don't have a long enough attention span for education.
No.
Just like, can I nap here? Is the stuff interesting to look at? So those are our top 5. I am like gonna guarantee like 1,000,000%. They're obviously not gonna be everyone's top 5. Hell, they're not even Ash's top 5.
No, they're not.
But they're mine. and that's all that counts.
You're definitely going to have a different opinion just because there are so many rides that are really good at Disney World. It was a really hard list to come up with, and there are so many great rides that just didn't make the cut for whatever personal preference that we had. Please let us know if you've got some different ones. We always love hearing what you actually think. And thanks for watching.
Bye! Say bye.
Bye.
To the camera.
Bye.
Bye.